I hear my father sleeping sometimes when his breathing is loud and persistent and I'm in the next room at the computer. The night is a good time to write when the cars have gone to sleep and darkness presses its cold face against the windows. My father talks in his sleep while I'm writing. I can't understand what he is saying. I know by his tone of voice when his mother kisses him and lights the birthday party candles with boiled coins shining like stars in the cake mix. Once my wife heard him thank Jesus and tell him that he hasn't forgotten. Sometimes his dreams float on salt water when he's back in the South Pacific, which is almost every night. He's in the best shape of his life, playing poker and rolling bones on the deck of the U.S. Capapon. He might be walking the catwalk during the storm that not everyone survived, or watching a torpedo come directly at him, the one that sunk just before it reached the ship and killed everyone. It keeps coming back when he dreams. So does the kamikaze pilot who ejected just before his plane overshot the ship. His body crashed into the deck right next to my father, who was sitting on the turret shooting him out of the sky. Sometimes my father sleeps in his bunk down below. Sometimes the water is full of blood and oil and body parts. Once he saw a pilot land in the water right next to his ship. There was smoke coming off a wing. The lifeboat was dropped. The pilot looked at my dad and smiled because he made it. He was still smiling when his plane exploded, and that's the hardest part of the story. My father never gave this a second thought during the war, but the pilot started coming back, still alive in my father's dream. The man died with a smile on his face. He died, and he dies again. I wake when my father wakes and wobbles off to the restroom with a wooden cane. It sounds like a peg leg when it hits the wooden floor. I think of Captain Hook and Peter Pan, both alive in the same body. My dad sits on the toilet with a long sample of toilet paper draped across his lap, and he pets the paper as if it were a cat. If he falls asleep again, I'll wake him. I can't get my father to take a walk with no purpose. He doesn't like to walk. He knows he has to hike through the kitchen, out the back door, and down the sidewalk to touch the gate before I'll get his morning coffee. Sometimes he sings a song he learned in boot camp. You had a good home, but you left it. You had a good home, but you left it. Sound off, 1, 2. Sound off, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's warm. If it's warm, he sits on the patio with his newspaper. He reads it every day from cover to cover, and he can't remember a thing he just read.